everyone. So for today's video, I thought I would share with you my Book of Shadows. Did you hear how thick that is? I'm wearing the microphone, so I'm not sure if you heard how thick that is. This isn't all the way full. So for these, there are a lot of different names for this. So some people just call them a Book of Shadows. Some people see a Book of Shadows as something very private and personal, where you would keep records of your spells, like your own spells that you make, their results from them, so on and so forth. Some people call the book that you would put results from your spells in a Book of Mirrors. And some people refer to these as grimoires, but some people see grimoires as something public information, something that you would pass down to your family, so on and so forth. Now, this one, I don't mind sharing. I do have a lot of personal books with my years and, well, decades, I should say, decades of my research and experience and knowledge with like witchcraft and the occult. Those are in just regular, ordinary notebooks. They're not pretty like this. So I have so many there in my bookshelves that people are like, what are these for? What is this? Is just a regular notebook, but I have them written in different types of rooms, and I'm just like, that's my personal. That's why you can't read it. I said I don't mind sharing this one. There's only like 2 pages of personal information, so I'm just not going to show that because it shows like my personal information that's in there. But everything else I'm going to show you, except for the locked pages. And I'll explain while they're locked when we get into them. But let's get right into it. Oh, I'm excited. It's so thick that the normal like fastenings for them, they already started to rip. So I have to use like twist ties in order to seal it. Trying to make sure everything is in frame. So right here, I have my little incantation that I put in like every single book. I did not come up with this. This is such an old incantation. But it says, beware the urge to take this book and try and read it in a private nook, for its magic is not blind, and I will know you've touched what's mine. On this page, I have a book blessing, and on this page, I have the laws of the power. This is my own personal representation of these things. So again, this Book of Shadows, or grimoire, as I'm going to refer to it, even though it says Book of Shadows. None of this stuff I consider private. It's filled actually with like a lot of sentimental things to me, as you'll see as we go through. So the next 2 pages I am going to skip because they do contain very personal information to me. So I'm just going to edit that out just in case they show. Sorry, technically it was 2.5, but anyway. On this page, I have a chakra color reference chart. Now, I had gotten this when I had my aura photography done, but that has all my personal information on it. That's why I'm not showing it. This page right here are 7 things that affect your vibrational frequency from the point of view from quantum physics. So this breaks down everything. If you want to pause to read it, I'm just not going to read it to you. That way, I'm not wasting your time. But the main things are thoughts, the companies, the music, the things you look at, the atmosphere, the word, and gratitude. These are different types of frequencies. Like, I like to combine science with my witchcraft, so I even have like little basic things like normal healthy bodies vibrate at between 65 to 75 hertz. For EEG in terms of frequency bands, or your brain waves, delta is less than 4 hertz, theta 4 to 8 hertz, alpha, which is 8 to 12, beta, which is 3 to 13, and gamma, and that's anything greater than 30 hertz. For example, our brains uses 13 hertz, so that's normally at the beta stage, which is high alpha or low beta for active intelligence. And one of the primary resonance frequencies of the Earth's field line is 0.1 hertz, and that is exactly the same frequency as the human heart rhythm when we're in a heart coherent state. So 1.2 hertz equals 72 heartbeats per minute. And that's kind of cool when you bring into things like the Schumann Renaissance. Oh my gosh. The Schumann, the heartbeat of the Earth. I'm sorry there's so many edits in this part. The kids are literally running by and like screaming and playing, which is great, but they're also like swearing, so I have to keep stopping. Because I'm not sure if it's getting picked up by my microphone, so I'm just stopping just as a precaution. The beginning stuff is just like basic little things, but then I have spell work and things like that as we go in further. 3 little tips to boost your intuition. practical high sense of perception. I actually put this in backwards. This is supposed to be the front page. And then it goes into this. Attachment syndromes, some stickers, a little tarot cheat sheet, broken into wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And then I have the major arcana here. I have different books for tarot. I have like notebooks for tarot. I still have my original notes from when I was learning when I was like 13 or 14 years old for tarot at Magic Mirror in Bristol. So like, this is a very, very bare minimum for tarot. Actually, it's so easy to learn tarot. I might do a video on that. I'm debating on that because it all kind of breaks down to numerology with the elements. So I don't know. I might do that. And then this is time span tips too. Like wands symbolize days, swords symbolize weeks, cups equals months, pentacles equals years. Because then you think about it, wands is fire, so that's something quick, that's passion. Swords is air, more intellectual, more low, being not as high as fire. Water, months, kind of moving slowly, but nothing as much as earth. So these pages here, they came from one of my old mentors. So they were a mentor at Massachusetts. I did take classes and stuff in Salem, but these were from the Celtic Cricket, and his name was Chuck. And I mentioned him in another video. He passed away. But these were like his little handwritten things and his little rituals, so that's why I put them in here. Again, if you want to pause these and look at these. Another thing from Chuck too. This is going on with the Ivy, the blood moon ritual. There was like little feathers or little sticks and stuff like that you could pull. These are from like other spell things that I've gotten, so I decided to add these in. This is a basic version of drawing down the moon, so depending on what type of witchcraft branch that you follow, like if you are like Wiccan, there's a different ceremony for bringing down the moon. If you're traditional, it's a different ceremony for bringing down the moon. If you're eclectic or anything else like that, this is just a generalized version of drawing down the moon. So again, feel free to zoom in, take screenshots, add to your own. I don't mind sharing. Now these pages, these ones are different handwritten sigils I made. These are just basic bind runes. I did not make these ones, but all these other ones I made. This is little things of the witch's alphabet. Basic thing on runes. This is a circle chant. I really like this one. This one isn't like traditional, well not like traditional, but I would say classic. When everyone's all like, east, west, you know what I mean? This is more of a realized non-denomination for it. And then a pentacle. This page is written in crayon with the alchemical symbol for the elements and spirit. Then I have the basics for casting a circle and then for closing the circle. This is a thing on Graveyard Dirt. Again, you could screenshot, you could pause to read. I don't want to take up everybody's time. I'm just showing you what I have. A thing on Coffin Nails. A recipe for Florida water. This is covered in candle wax. A basics of candle magic. And then it goes this way. I know it's sideways, but a lot of my pages pull out and they're interactive. Folklore on crows. Folklore on ravens. Folklore on Hecate, or Hecate. Everyone calls her a little bit different depending on which pantheon you picked her up from. Calling on dragon elements. A little dragon protection charm. Like I said, a lot of these were given to me by certain people. That's why I keep them in here. An autumn house cleansing spell. A little bit about Mabon. This right here are little tributes. There's like a resurrection spell. There's a garden spell. This came from a subscription box. Tame Wild. I didn't subscribe to them for very long, but little basic things, just so it doesn't look like I'm keeping anything from you. And then on this side is the basics of candle magic. And then on this side of it is a negativity be gone spell. And then a little witch tip. I know this looks so weird, but it's real cloves stuck to here with Mod Podge, but it smells so good. These are little things from like Salem and other things. This is like a little oracle card. Arnica, though, if you ever work with, it is toxic. Don't ever breathe it in because there's little fibers that are on it, just kind of like creeping Virginia, that could alter your breathing like it would with poison ivy, but not exactly the same. This is a locked page, which I will not open just because if someone saw this and they decided to try this out, it's definitely not for beginners. So that's why this is locked. And I lock certain things because it'll take a little bit to unlock if someone was to just grab it. So I keep them locked that way. Not anyone could just grab certain spells. But anyway, here's a protection spell. It's another dragon base. I'm also Year of the Dragon too, which I'm like, yes, I love the dragon. Again, feel free. Take any of these spells. This is how to make an abundance poppet. This is basics on how to make a corn poppet. Here is a little tiny falling leaves release spell. How to use fall leaves to release things. This page is dedicated to crystals. I have the Crystal Bible. I have other books dedicated to crystals, but they are front and back. I know it's like hard to see. With all other different types of crystals. Little tidbits. If you want to keep something close, bury it in your yard. If you want to track something, bury it under the front doorstep. If you want to destroy its influence, burn it. This is a depending though. You don't always want to burn everything. It depends on the situation, but most times that's everyone's go-to. But again, depends on the situation. 1, for magical energy, and 2, for the components and basic fire, safety. If you want to move it away and sink, throw it in running water. If you want to disperse it at a distance, throw into a crossroads, which I love working with crossroads. If you want to fix its influence, enter in a 5-spot pattern. And this is just a little thing. This was going to be a glamour page, but it has all things to do with bats. Casting and a hydra. Oh my gosh. Casting and not hydra. Oh my gosh. This word. You know what word I'm trying to say. I can't pronounce it. Of power. And here's everything for that. This is a curse removal body scrub. Make sure everything's unshot. That way, if you guys want to save everything, because like I said, I don't mind sharing. Knowledge is power. There's more little tidbits, like a resurrection spell and blah, blah, blah. Little things on energy. A worries be gone spell. A goddess blessing spell. Totem animals. A basic road opener spell. I personally prefer my road opener spell. There is a copy of it. I'm pretty sure it's with the Aries full moon. I could be wrong, but I have my own personal road opener spell that I use with rice and dirt from a crossroads and a special incantation that I made. And I feel like this one is not as powerful as the spell that I made, but most people, you know, feel that way about their own spells. This is my seed bomb recipe. I have 2 different ones for like manifestation paper and manifestation in general, which I did do a video about for a spring manifestation. This is for my home. This is a specific sigil for my home. I showed this one briefly in how I program my walls to help with my seasonal depression. This is the sigil that I use to program my walls with my seasonal depression. Normally, when not in use, this specific piece of selenite is in there charging. That way I could use the selenite to push up against the selenite and gypsum in my drywall. And a lot of paints have selenite and gypsum and desert rose in them. So that's what I use to reprogram everything with light, you know, the law of contagion. Spirit messenger. Hallowtide. Different types of full moons and their meanings. Trying to make sure I get everything in there. Again, this came from Chuck, the Celtic Cricket. He gave me so much stuff. Here we go, and now into my handwritten stuff. So this one I made a brief video on, and I was very upset because I planned out everything for the video. And when I went to go move the camera, it stopped recording. So then afterwards, I was like, I'm over it. I drew everything. I explained it in depth. Here's a quick synopsis, but this is the page that I was referencing from. So this is a little thing of basics of magic, what magic is and what it isn't, what the goal of magic is, and the witch's pyramid. Which, if you haven't seen that that video of it, sorry, I'm not editing this and I'm trying to talk so quickly because the kids keep going by in laps, so I don't want all of a sudden swearing in the background, is to will, to dare, to keep silent, and to know, with recently the top being added by Aleister Crowley, to go. It's like the basics of foundation. This goes into Cone of Power. Now again, these don't have to be part of like your practices. I just have everything in here just in case I was to give this to somebody, like, you know, years down the line. That way they have a little bit of everything so they could choose their own path. And down here, I have like famous cones of powers. Like these are different chants that you could use while doing like a cone of power. Most of these are like sing song. This one is my absolute favorite and I use it for everything. It also seems to work the best in my personal experience from it. So I have the Operation Cone of Power, which was a Lammas Eve ritual in 1940 done by Gardenian witches to stop, you know, Mr. Inch Mustache Man from invading the UK. In 1588, the Spanish Armada became discouraged by being scattered by storms, and it was rumored that a bunch of witches had worked together and called forth energy in a type of cone of power to fight that off. In 1805, Napoleon called off his planned invasion in England, which was also rumored. Like all these are, except for this one right here, the Operation Cone of Power, these are all rumored. And then in 2019, they had one set up against Trump, and his first impeachment trial began at the end of that year. Again, speculation and rumors. Here we go, laying a compass versus casting a circle. So if you're into more traditional witchcraft, you wouldn't cast a circle, you would lay a compass or a compass round. So this goes into details about that with like the staying and the elements. basically what your visualization looks like. And all the details. I don't even know if you could read my handwriting. This is a basic element chant. This is words of power and magic. In telephony, the visible voice frequency band ranges from approximately 300 to 3,400 hertz, also known as the voice frequency, being the electromagnetic energy that represents acoustic energy at a baseband. So this is again reminding you that your voice does have power. This is just a tiny section of words that have power throughout the years. There are way more than this. But I just put them in. This one is my favorite section right here. So this one is the days of the week. Each day of the week is ruled by a different planet. So this also helps with your spell work if you like to do planetary magic, and each one of those days have planetary hours. So each day of the week is governed by a different planet, and they all represent different types of energy. And then there's different, spell times to do things. But here, I handwritten all the herbal correspondence by planet. So this also helps with your spell work. So I have everything for Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. So these are all the days. So Sun, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's pretty self-explanatory when you think of the planets. And then a breakdown which they each stand by, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to plan and coordinate your spells. And then on this side of it is crafting your spells with the day of the week, and then another further breakdown of it. And then after this, I kind of stopped here because this is where I was going to go into glamour magic, and then I just never got back into it because then I just worked more on my personal one. The one that I don't share with anybody because that's all like my studious materials and whatnot, so I don't have that much that's like in here that's public. Because even this, it's supposed to be locked, but it's not. There's some random, well, I won't open anything, but if you see anything, you didn't hear it from me, but none of these are that bad. I have other pages that are supposed to be locked. This one is not locked, but quick little walkthrough of my public grimoire, my public book of shadows. Like I said, I have so many notebooks of all my private stuff, but some of them have really old, like stuff to work with artificial beings. So like things like tulpamancy, tulpas, servitors, egregores, thought forms, god forms. I have like the Ellis incantation, things like that for like famous servitors. So I don't want to put that out because I don't know what everybody level is at. But maybe I'll do a video on artificial beings, but there's so many of them out there, so I kind of don't really see a point. And then other stuff that I had learned and personal spell work. But maybe I'll censor it in a way so I can, because I feel like there's a lot of useful information in there that everyone could use. I just might have to like take things out and handwrite them. That way I could put them in a different area. That way, it's safe for everybody while also keeping myself safe, because a lot of my personal stuff is in there. Yeah, a little quick video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope good things happen to you. Bye!